right, so you're on the plane headed to Paris. I mean, what's your first plane ride really like to you?
So I get down to Gulfport, Mississippi, and we're waiting around, and they check us and all that. And then they take us out to a plane. And, I thought you walked on, the little gate things. Well, this one, you legitly walk out onto the tarmac, and you just walk upstairs and get in it. And, I mean, it was tiny. And so, they're seating us, and, I can see the pilot because all he's got is, a curtain. He don't even have a door. He's got a curtain. And I'm going, okay. And so, we take off. I'm a little nervous. Well, he never breaks the clouds. He's never above the clouds. I can see land. And I'm going, how do you get to Paris like this? This is going to take forever. I mean, I don't do a lot of the maths, but I can tell you this little old bitty thing carrying these people, it's going to be a minute. And then, I can see the pilot. All he's got's a curtain. I guess if we're just loud or he don't want to see us, he closes it. And it's really weird. So we're cruising along, and I'm a little nervous, and they give me a hard time. I've never flown. So we land in Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, this makes sense, right? So we're there for a little bit, and then we get on our next plane. And so this time we do walk out a little gate, and it's got its jets in the back of it. I said, okay, this is better. This has got a little bit more horsepower. Okay. So we take off there, and we fly, and then we land in Detroit, land in Michigan. So at this point, I've never been out of the South.
Yeah.
I don't know what out of South looks like.
Yeah.
So flying to Michigan, I see the city from above. Can't really say I saw the city because I was in the airport.
Yeah.
And I'm going, okay, well, what's next? Well, then, they call and we go and we get on one of the huge Air France jets. I'm like, okay. Well, the name tells me I'm going to make it to France. Correct?
The plan.
Via the air.
Yeah.
Via the air, Air France.
Yeah.
And so we get on it, and we sit down, and they got the little screen that pops up, tells you how far you are on your flight.
Yes.
It tells me I have a remaining 13 and 30 minutes. So I'm like, okay. So, but this side of the point, but the worst part was there was a guy in front of me. Okay. And this dude sits down. He gets a little stretch. The stewardess or the flight attendants hadn't even come out and, showed you how to buckle your belt and, if you crash in water, use your seat, which I'm going to let you know, if I crash in water, my seat's not going to be in any use to be used. If I'm on a plane crash and I crash in the water, I don't think the state of my seat's going to be a good thing to use. I just don't. I think treading the water is going to be a better option. Thing. But dude, puts the seatbelt on, leans his head back, goes to sleep. He's asleep. They come out and they do their thing, God bless them, and the oxygen mask and all the things. And so I'm like, how's this get off the ground? Well, then dude throws it in. He cures my curiosity, right? That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And then we get up in the air.
I'm one of those people, I love takeoff.
It was amazing.
Takeoff and landing is the greatest thing ever.
It was amazing.
I love it.
And so we're in the air, and I'm pretty scared. I'm just gonna call it like it is. You know? But I'm going to tell you, dude, when you're in the air about that 7th hour.
At some point, you're like, I don't.
Yeah. And
some people are like, can we please die? Some are still, let's not die. But then some are probably like you, that's like, oh, whatever.
I mean, at this point, I'm looking on a little mini map thing, and it shows I'm over water. I'm surrounded by water. If something goes wrong,
we're here.
I have no question about where I'm going.
Yep.
My seat can be used as a flotation device. I probably won't want to use it, but so I just get tired of that, but I cannot sleep. Meanwhile, this dude in front of me is sleeping like a little baby. I mean, it's just it's making me mad to no end. And so we get there, and then I see the sun go down, and I see it come right back up. So we hit it where it was going down in the U.S. Then by the time we hit over there, the sun's coming up. So it's my nighttime was an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. I'm sure it wasn't, but that's what it felt like. So we land in France, and we hit the runway, and then, Sleeping Beauty in front of me kind of wakes up and stretches. And
pops up, ready to go.
Ready to go with this day, and I'm so mad at this guy. I don't know this guy, but I'm just like, how? Now you put me on a plane, I can go sleep. It's not an issue at all. But then, of course, I was scared to death. So we land there, and still doesn't really hit home with me that I'm somewhere else until we get off the plane and nothing's in my language anymore. Everybody around me is not speaking my language, and I suddenly have the realization that if I'm thirsty or have to go to the bathroom, I can't ask. So I'm 2 years old now, right? Like, I can point, I can make some sounds, but I can't ask. It reminds me of the Home Alone movie, where like she's trying to call home from Paris.
Yes,
and she like takes the phone from the lady, and they're steadily speaking.
She's just screaming.
Like, I'm like, hello, 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 and they're steadily saying French. You're like, they'll call you back, click. And so thank goodness my mentor Darko, like, he spoke many languages, so he's home wherever he goes, and so that was a guide to get us and help us out. But still, when I went out into the city by myself, it's me. Like, and I fully understand that now. When families get here, however they get here, and English is not the first language, I'm still drawn to try to help.
Yeah.
Like, look, we're both going to look stupid. We're both going to wave our hands around and we're going to point. But I'm going to get you to where you need to go because I've been here. I know what this feels like.
Yeah.
So while I was over there, I was to back Natalie Kirk, and I was also to play behind a guy named Doug McMahon. So he was an American, but he was a very, very popular musician in France.
Okay.
Spoke French beautifully. So we get there, we settle into our hostel, and so for those 2,000 kids out there, like, hostels are not a place where they like try to hurt you. It's literally just like a shared kind of space. Like, it's got bunk beds, and you all pile in there pretty much.
Yeah.
So we were there, and then we played. Their clubs were a little different. Like, the top of it was like your bar area seating, and that you actually went downstairs below it.
Yes.
That's where the music was.
Gotcha.
So we went down there. I performed that night behind Natalie. I also performed behind him.
What genre are we talking? Like,
singer-songwriter, very acoustic kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we did that. We were in Paris. We played one more place while we were there. And then we traveled out to where USM has their study abroad program in that village.
Okay.
We went there, and they had this huge place to have a concert for, like, everybody in the village. I guess it's called a village. I don't know proper terminology. But and then everybody in the surrounding area. Some people came in from Paris. Like, it was a huge...
Almost like a music festival.
Yeah, it was a huge deal. And so we had that there. And then after that, I came back to the States. So
Okay.
this is like, I was there for, about 2 weeks probably?
Mm-hmm.
If that long.
How old are you?
Making
him think.
20?
Okay.
20, I would guess?
20 and no ties probably to anything.
No, not really. No, not really. Just 6 strings and a dream, man. Like, just...
Put that on a bumper sticker.
Wherever you want to go. Like, wherever you can go, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And so we fly back, and we actually, the last flight this time was into New Orleans. It was, it's good to be home.
I went to Colorado last summer.
Okay.
And when you get back from Colorado in the summer, it was like 50 degrees is your high, and you step off the plane in New Orleans in late June, early July.
Yes,
that's a terrible feeling. It really, truly is.
It is.
You're punched in the face, but I bet you for you that probably felt very good.
I don't know, because like
getting
here,
back, going up, just having a regular conversation with somebody in English.
Yeah, I mean that was.
You see how great this is?
That was
we can
pretty
talk.
delightful. But like here, we wear our weather. We don't really have weather.
Exactly.
So like you put on that wet coat as soon as you get off the plane. But what I say I do miss is over there. Like if I wanted something to eat, I could go to a fresh market. I get fresh food.
Yeah.
I get fresh vegetables. I get fresh fruits, fresh meat, all that.
That is kind of a rarity unless you do it yourself.
Right. And it was inexpensive. If you went to McDonald's, it was crazy expensive over there.
So it truly is a lot cheaper just to cook
eat
whatever
healthy.
you eat.
Yeah, like here, then you're going to Whole Foods and you got to give like a kidney to get like some beans or something.
Yeah. I thought it was, I think Jim Gaffigan one time had a joke where he said, I just wish there was a disposal place at the entrance. You throw your wallet in and get some grapes.
It kind of
Whole Foods.
It kind of is at Aldi's. You got to give them a quarter. You don't get a buggy.
Exactly.
You know?
First time I saw that, I thought, this is communism. What are we doing here?
And now I thought this is brilliant. As a businessman, I thought it was brilliant because the number of people that are just going to leave their quarter.
Yeah. I don't
mean,
need that.
Those quarters add up.
That's true.
But that's the natural business guy in me.
Yeah.
But so I got back home and it was weird because like now I've been to another country. Like I've been to another country, but I'm still in school. I'm still at USM.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm going back to school. I'm going back to like Boca Chica, Mississippi and home and
But you kind of have that on your resume.
oh yeah, 100%, right? Yeah, like it's there. And so from there I continued to just play in different bands, any band. I was running South City Records for USM. Back then, they had a really strong music industry program.
Running
When
it.
I
What do
was
you mean
in.
by what do you mean by running?
I was managing it, and then
Okay.
also
As a student?
yeah, and lead engineer.
Okay.
And it was an LLC, so we're making money.
Okay.
Like
was
we're-
it a student ran thing pretty much, or were you just kind of an anomaly?
And it was pretty much me and one dude that was my assistant that became the guy when I left. And we just went in and we didn't know a lot about making records.
Yeah.
I mean, we were learning, right? And so I remember the first people I recorded, I didn't know how to turn the metronome on. And so like I told them like to go like take a break and whatever I said. And when they went outside, I had a old school metronome in my guitar bag. And so I knew what, beats per minute is the speed of their song. And so I took a microphone and actually recorded that metronome for like 4 minutes while they were out taking a break. And so I'm serious. And so when they got back and they told me to turn the click on, I just turned on the recording that I had.
You got it.
And I didn't say anything else. Like that, I mean, that's...
You hear a bird in the background?
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, because it's nobody wants excuses. They don't care how you get there.
Just get
especially in
there.
this industry. Get there. But I remember it's like one of the first records I did. I remember that. I remember the first time I learned about like EQ cuts and stuff, like where things should exist. It was beyond my brain to understand like you don't hard cut things there. So, like, I was in the studio just going through and different instruments in my notebook I had written down from class, like, where that lives. I was cutting everything else out, which is insanity.
Wow.
But I wasn't even listening to it, Ollie. I was just cutting. I think I was listening to Eddie Money. Like, I was just cutting stuff,
So what year is this?
Let's see. High school was 04. First year at JUCO was 5.6. Second year was 7.8. I took off half of that. 7.8. So that would have been like around 2010, probably 2009, 2010.
Okay.
And so like we're running analog console into digital, and like it was a lot of hands-on, old school kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so of course my mentor comes in and is like, "What are you doing?" And dumb me, like I'm cutting it like you said in class. And it sounded horrendous.
Yeah.
And then like he's like, "You're thinking too literal." Like, and kind of broke it down. But we started making albums there. We took that to In the Black. It was like Belly Upped in the Red, and we took it into the black.
Wow.
And so I was doing that, and then I was still playing with multiple bands.
Was that really what you're doing at this time in your life? Or are you working another job? Or this is what
That's
you
what
do?
I'm doing.
Like, you basically are doing what you're doing here.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was gigging and making money that way.
Yeah.
And then I didn't get paid for the studio work. And so I'm in the studio for...
Thanks, kid. Get out of here.
That's it. I mean, right. You got to earn your stripes.
Yeah.
You know? And so, I mean, you're talking like 5-6 hours in the studio. And I'm not getting paid for that. I get paid when I go gig. Like, so I'm doing both of those. And no, this is what I do. This is what I do. And so I play with multiple bands, and they were pretty popular, like in this area and stuff, through college. And then I get to the end of college, and I go to London. And I go to London for about 2 months. So I went over there because USM has like the study abroad thing, right? So I signed up for the London one because my mentor was going over there.
Yeah.
And most students do like these classes and stuff. And I had to do this too. Like my mentor's not going to let me just go do whatever I want to do in London because I'm there. But I had a lot of opportunities that he got for us to go train. So I trained in BBC studios. So in the studio that Sinatra cut his last like full orchestra album, the one Hendrix cut in, and all that. Got to train with a guy named Simon, who still to this day is like one of the top recording engineers.
Okay.
You can go YouTube it, and you'll see like some of his master classes with students. And I got to train there. I got to train at SSL, who makes recording consoles. That's like my controller who makes it.
Okay.
I got to train a lot of different places. I got to play some music over there.
'Cause at this point, what you're doing right now and what you're doing there, you're like, this is the career that you want to do.
100%.
Cutting albums, engineering, and all that kind of stuff.
I knew I was going to be in music, mainly in guitar, until I had to go to USM and You're Not Hendrix moment. But I knew music was what I was going to do. There wasn't a doubt there.
Yeah, so this is to go off subject at this moment.
Oh, catchy name.
I know, right? I should name this that. Anyways, the music industry is what I figured out, and I like to relate a lot of things back to sports because I kind of like sports a little bit, I guess.
Oh, me too.
I know.
All about the sports.
Go team.
Go team.
Yeah.
Yay sports.
What about Southern on Saturday? Jeez Louise. Anyways. But it's one of these things where people who are outside of it go, well, there's that one job, and that is being an artist. You know, same thing with sports. There's that one job, being an athlete. But when you kind of scratch the surface just a little, you realize there's so much that goes into putting on a game or producing and cutting and putting 100%. Out an album. So is that what happened to you? Did you go into college going, I want to learn how all this is made, how all this is done, or was that discovered in college? I mean, how did coming to this career happen for you?
Coming to this career, like, I wanted to be in music. I didn't want to do a 9-to-5. I knew that. I knew that. A lot of it goes back to my dad too. My dad wanted to be a radiologist. That was his like life stream, was to be a radiologist.
Okay.
Like straight up. But he wasn't afforded that. He dropped out of high school to help my grandparents out with money, so he got a GED. That's as far as he went. Absolutely brilliant and smart and intelligent guy. Not just because he was my dad. I mean, you're talking about a guy that had a GED, and before he passed, he was running a plant for Boeing Engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So he was never allowed it. Life didn't allow him to go for his dreams. And so him and my mom both were behind me. Like, if this is your dream, go capture it.
Yeah.
And so I knew it was going to be music. I knew music. But I wasn't dumb. I understood that if you want to go further in anything, you have to be good at multiple things. You can't just be good at one thing and just hope that one thing works out. Now, for me, I'm very blessed, and it did.
It did, yeah.
I mean, it really did. But if it didn't...
What else are you going to do?
Right,
you can't just be sitting there going, well, what's next?
Right, and I'm not going to not make that and then say, well, I guess I'm out of music. I'm just going to go do da-da-da-da-da-da. No, so get more skills. Get yourself to where you understand multiple facets of your industry. If you can do everything that everybody's doing around you and do it well, then you can only make good things, because you're going to call out those people that are trying to shortchange you, that are trying to shortcut you. Like,
that's one of the biggest things that I've gleaned from being around you. You told me that one time. You were like, wherever you are, learn everything that's a part of it, so that you can one day hopefully run it, number one, but also you know what's going on around you. You never be foreign, pretty much.
Well, that and legends are made in moments. Legends aren't made in years. They're made in moments. Yeah. They might be a legend for years, but they're made in moments. They're made in moments where the percentages that it's going to work are tiny.
Yeah.
And the one person stands up and says, I got it, I can do it. And now that opens many doors. So if there's ever a chance and there's a shining light in a moment, if I know everything that's going on, that increases my chances of doing something that leaves an impression. And so not so much that everybody knows my name, because they don't know my name, I'm a side guy, but that in the industry I work in, like, call Matt.
Yeah.
Call Matt. Like, brilliant guitar player, and then we had a signal flow problem. Well, dude hopped off stage, fixed the signal flow, hopped back on stage, played the show.
Yeah.
That's another tool in my bag somebody else don't got.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to who's getting hired, even if they're a better player than me,
call Matt.
Right, because if you have this problem, and this problem, oh, he's got you there too.
Yeah.
And so that was just kind of my way. And then when I got put in music industry, I believe that the good Lord shut a door and opened one. That's where I was supposed to go. Mm. So when I met Darko, and he was so into albums and he was so into sounds and the roots of music and all this, that I got into it too. And so it was like I knew this season was going to be more about learning and learning how to engineer and not as much about guitar. But now still get it straight. I'm practicing guitar 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, I'm practicing guitar 6 hours a day. Like, end of story. So my chops are staying up. And so that's really, as far as success goes, it's kind of following God's plan for me, and then it's putting in the work. You know, nobody's going to hand it to you. I tell students all the time, look, if you're not wake yourself up in the morning and figure out where you're going to go and how you're going to hustle type of person, go work for somebody. People need amazing employees that make amazing companies. And if you're an amazing employee, you're going to climb up the ladder of that company and you're going to make money. But you're not going to have to wake up in the morning and try to figure out how to make money for all of your employees.
Yeah.
You're just going to go and you're going to make your money. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to go the solo, it's you on the mountain trek, you better go in as smart as you can go in. You better go in with every tool you can carry on your back, because you don't know what situations you're going to make out.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of, you know, when we went and plowed potatoes, you know, we took tools we didn't think we were going to need, because it's a long way back. Even if it ain't that far back, in 102 degrees, it's a long way back. You know, and so we took the tools with us. And it's the same thing from that life carrying on through the rest. And then being in England, I understood what a privilege it was to have an opportunity to do that. So I soaked it in. I embraced it. I didn't stay scared of it. I went all over the freaking place, hit that tube and went everywhere.
Yeah.
And trained and played music, went and saw music, went and, I mean, just everywhere, and really soaked it in.
Yeah.
Made friends I still have today over there. Like, that was the goal. And it was an amazing time. And then I come home. And we land in New Orleans once again. I have a severe sinus infection, like getting back. When we go to land, it's storming, like it's raining really hard.
Yeah.
And so he's landing, and he kind of turns the plane and then slams it down. I mean, slams it down. And now I know like they're doing that they're sticking that landing because it could be slick. And so I'm getting off the plane, and the pilot's over there, like, and he says, "Thanks for flying with us." And I was like, "Hey, thanks for landing, guy." And my mentor like slaps me on the back of the head. But I get back, and it's like, okay, I go graduate, and it's like, all right, well, now what are you gonna do? You know, because it's a weird feeling when you step out of university and they shut the door behind you, and now you're just in life, like. Hi, I'm live.
It's funny because it's, I guess you could say through high school, you always have or you could say any time in your grade school years, there's always that next challenge. And then you get out of high school and it's the next challenge. For us, It was JUCO. After JUCO, you got university. And then after university, it's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, well, life goes, I don't give a crap what you do.
Right. It's like what is the challenge?
Right. Like
it's almost waiting on your orders.
That's exactly right. It doesn't care what you do. If you want to go sit out on the sidewalk for the rest of your life, and have at it. You know, there's nobody to say, like,
America,
do this. Like, you know, but it is absolute freedom to the great or to the bad.
Yeah. It's kind of scary, probably.
Oh, it's horrifying, dude. It was like, maybe I should get my master's. Maybe a master's.
Why don't we go back?
Yeah, let's go back.
Let's turn around.
You know, but I didn't have the money for that. I already have student loans that I pay every day. You know, and so, like, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So I had to get out there. Well, my mentor had set me up with a 6-month internship in Meridian, Mississippi.
Okay.
And I really didn't want to go. Like,
why not?
Like, dude, like, you know people in London, you know people in L.A., you know people in New York.
I got you.
You know people in New Orleans.
Meridian? What?
Like, why are you sending me to Meridian? Like, you know people everywhere. Like, I could be laid up in a flat in London working for BBC interning.
Yeah.
You know, but he's like, no, you're going to Meridian. And I'm like, okay. He said, they'll pay you pretty well. You're close to home where your folks and stuff are, so you can visit. And I think this is the step you need. Mm-hmm. And so I said, yes, sir. And I went to Meridian, and man, like, nothing against Meridian. There's just nothing to do there, bro.
Well, they got a terrible community college too, man.
Oh, here he goes. Here, Mr. Sports. Let's throw my jab where I can. Yay, team. But like,
Yeah.
there's just nothing.
Yeah.
And so I started my internship there.
At this point, let me ask you this question because people probably don't know this. You started out kind of rock music. When have you moved over into the country genre?
I moved over to the country genre after I got back from the rally.
Okay.
Yeah, so like right now I'm rock and blues. Rock and blues, like that's all I'm playing. At USM time and those times I'm doing straight rock and blues, singer-songwriter, like I'm not in the country thing. So I was there probably my first like 3 weeks and I understood how much stuff I actually didn't know that I thought I knew.
Wow.
Because when I had to put it into actual functional practice, then I was getting schooled every day. And I'm with like real artists every day.
Yeah.
That expect me to know everything inside and out. They don't care I'm an intern. I'm some dude at the place. And so I'm getting schooled. And some were hard on me, and some were absolutely brilliant on me. Like Gary Morris, the Wind Beneath My Wings was his big cut. His people were amazing to me. And I had some struggle moments, but they were amazing to me, you know. And that's what I tell the students is like the reason why I teach them like I do, and I expect them to go physically do it. Like this isn't a theory.
Yeah.
This is practice. And so when they get out there, it doesn't happen to them. You know, some basic things I should have known, I learned by some guy like looking at me like I was an idiot, and I needed it because I didn't know it. And so I worked there for one of their full seasons, and it lined my resume insanely. And I was educated.
Were some of the biggest names you worked with there?
There?
Yeah.
I worked with Dionne Warwick. I worked with Brian McKnight. I worked with Manhattan Transfer, Joey DeFrancisco, David Sonborn, the New York Ballet Company, Gary. Worked with him and his people. And then a bunch of different plays and theaters that came through. Daly and Vincent I worked with. Like I worked with a ton of real names. I ran in-ears for Brian McKnight. And it was like, it was a humbling experience too because I was used to people carrying my stuff. Now I'm carrying people's stuff. But I took pride in it. So I took care of it. You know, and then I heard crazy stories about artists coming in. One was Dionne, her coming in. I should say Miss Dionne because she is a legend and a half, just like Gary is too. I'm just saying like I know him.
Old Gare Bear.
But I'm not gonna lie. Like I know people hear this, but I heard like all these stories about how terrible she was to deal with.
Yeah,
horrible to deal with. And I just didn't go into stuff with that attitude, man. And so, like, we're setting up, and she's sound checking, and the main people, I believe, like, the main people we had were on front of house, and I think ears too. Like, I was just straight intern. And she kind of called me. I came over and said, yes, ma'am. She's like, will you please wind my mic cable under the grand piano so that when I wear, like, you know, she wore very elaborate, like, evening gowns, it won't get caught up. I said, yes, ma'am, no problem. And I just did what she asked me to do.
How dare she?
You know, like I did what she asked me to do. It was like not a problem.
Yeah.
She was super cool with me. Like I enjoyed her. Her band they were hilarious. Like I had no problem. And that's when I understood that like maybe some of these stories were from a respect level. Like if somebody went in with a bad attitude or I went in with attitude towards her, somebody that's huge artist wise, and I went in and had an attitude.
You give her no reason to not come back with the same energy.
Facts. Especially, I mean, honestly, if you want to, I mean, everybody wants to, you know, hold hands and love each other, but in the spectrum of things, she is a great white shark and I am a tadpole. I mean, if we're going to be real, that's what I am. I'm a little bitty tadpole.
Yeah.
And she's a great white shark. So, you know, it's like I have that respect. I have that respect for her, for her art and where she is and what she's done. So I'm going to treat her that way. I treat her with respect, and guess what? No problems.
You got respect back?
Right, no problems at all. So, you know, I did that, and it was an amazing learning experience. My resume was chock full. Now, the problem was when that ended. So when that ended, I had no gigs because I've been up in Meridian.
Mm-hmm.
I had no money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I moved back to Hattiesburg, to a place that was not a nice place to live. My truck was shot up there.
Oh.
My roommate's car. They were after, I think, the people that lived next to us or whatever. It was a very troublesome time, especially when you're coming out of playing everywhere, doing all these things, going to these different countries, working with these big artists, and then life comes back and you're back and now you have no money. Our living room furniture was 2 fold-out camping chairs and a table we found on the side of the road. And then, like, I was
It's almost like when you go on vacation and you get home and it's like reality hits you.
Dude,
Is that what happened to you?
It was sobering
at that
man.
point.
And my wife now, of course, she was my girlfriend there. We were dating, and, it's like I get off the phone with her, get out of my truck, go upstairs, lay down, and then all that stuff happens, and it was just like, what am I doing? Where am I going? Like, what's happening?
Let's reassess where we're at.
Right.
And let's make a plan.
Let's do something, anything, right?
I hear Walmart's hiring.
Anything,
Something.
right? And so, again, I was like, I'm staying in music. I'm staying in music. I don't know how I stay in music. I'm staying in music. So I went to Mississippi Music, where I'd shopped there for years and years and years. I knew the manager, Carl, really well. And so I went in multiple times trying to get a job. Multiple times.
You wouldn't let him go.
And he finally called me and was like, hey, we have a position open, and it's over pianos and technology.
Let's do
He's
it.
like, I know you're a guitar player. I was like, I got the tech stuff. I'm doing it. I need a job. I'm going to be in music. And so he hired me. And so I ended up running 2 departments for him by the time it was said and done. He would let me travel and play. There I met a ton of people. So probably the most notable band that a lot of people know still today, they're actually on with Post Malone for a leg of his tour, is I met Gary in the shop, Gary Stanton, who's one of the duo that's Muscadine Bloodline, and kind of showed him some stuff on guitar, and he was fixing to do the Gary Stanton band, and he got me to come play guitar for him.
Okay.
So I did some shows with him. And then he sent me to New Orleans to play with his friend Charlie, who's the other part of Muscadine Bloodline, to cover some fraternity stuff down in New Orleans with him. So I went and did that. They started duoing, and one night they were at the Boom Boom Room in downtown Hattiesburg. It doesn't exist anymore. I think the AC wasn't even working, and they called me like, come hang out. And so they had this idea to form this band called Muscadine Bloodline. They asked if I wanted to play. I said, yeah. And so that's what put me on the Muscadine Bloodline thing. Now, given during that time, I was playing usually once on Wednesday, once on Thursday, 2 to 3 times on Friday, 2 to 3 times on Saturday, and then a Sunday brunch. Okay. I was playing with like 6, 7 different people, playing with them, and I was playing with Jacob Arnold and the Bird Dogs I play with
Who's
now.
that guy?
Who's that guy? And so it just kind of took off, and all that spawned from is I'm in that horrible duplex apartment, and everybody plays blues and rock, and so I've got to find a way to be unique,
distinguish yourself from
right. And I've always loved country coming up, always loved it. My dad gave me 3 albums when I started playing. He gave me Robin Trower, Bridge of Sighs. I don't know if you know who that is. That's like the UK's Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
He gave me Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced?
Yeah.
And he gave me Buck Owens and the Buckaroos.
Yeah, there we go.
And so when I heard that Telecaster that would like kill a chicken at 20 yards with that back pickup, I was on that.
I was on
So I bought a beginner's country book from Mississippi Music, and I learned it from page to page. And after I learned it, I learned the next one. I learned the next one. And then I found out I was the only young cat that was really doing that around here. And so all the country bands or alt country or like newer country, whatever, like they were hiring me left and right because I could actually play country.
But let's because you've told me this before. Let's just like what sets country apart from others. Like why is that so difficult to learn?
Well, the country stuff. I mean, there's a respect for all kinds of music, right?
Yes.
Like when you hear B.B. King does what B.B. King does.
Yeah.
When you hear Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin, or Jimi Hendrix, like everybody has their signature thing.
Yeah.
Country usually is kind of it's you've almost got to listen to it 1,000 times before you play it. And also, you've got instruments that are trying to copy other instruments, right? An electric guitar is trying to copy a steel, is trying to copy a mandolin, is trying to copy a fiddle, is trying to copy this or that. So that technique that's in it is a very unique technique. The way that it uses its notes and the bends it does, it's a very precise thing.
Yeah.
Blues and rock, I can bend around a little bit and kind of milk some notes, where country is moving fast for the stuff most people know, and it's very precise. To me, it's closer to jazz than it is anything. It's changing with chords, on chords. You got to know where you're going. And so it's an undertaking. It's something that to be able to learn, I play hybrid, so I play with a pick and 2 fingers. To be able to do that, I had to sit there for a month, like while I was watching TV and stuff, and just play scales, but make those other 2 fingers move until without thinking I could use all of it in conjunction. That's something I never had to do. Now, there's players that do that, but country is where that kind of led me to. And so I started filling in all these spots because I could do that thing. And so I was learning it, and probably one of the biggest things that happened to me was I sat in at like a open mic jam thing. And really, I knew blues and rock kind of minor scale stuff. Like, that's all I knew. And so when I was sitting in, the guy was like, what do you want to do? I was like, dude, just do blues stuff. Like, I don't really play stuff outside of that. Well, on purpose, the dude played, like, out of that. Played country kind of stuff. And I was lost, dude. I was lost, and I was embarrassed. And when we got done, he's like, we still got a lot to learn, and starts talking to me, and it made me so mad. It made me so mad. I couldn't see it made me mad. And so, dude, after that, like, if you thought I was on fire for guitar, now I was mad playing guitar. And that in the country was like the turning point for guitar for me, where it went from, like, I was doing a bunch of practicing and playing but staying in one genre to, okay, mechanically, how does this work? When I do this, what does it do? What are these notes?
Started dissecting it more.
You better believe, like, whatever you throw at me, I'm going to be able to play it.
Yeah.
I don't care. And so that's what got me on those bigger stages with those bigger people.
Yep.
And then Muscadine had moved. They've decided to move to Nashville. I didn't want to move to Nashville. And so that ended. They did set me up. In all fairness to them, they set me up with another artist that I could go play with. Mm-hmm. And I chose not to. Mm-hmm. So I'll say it. You're looking at me like big eyed, but they had kind of lined me up to go and be checked out with Riley Green to play guitar for him.
I think I've heard of him
just
before.
A little bit, and I did not take that
Why
contract. So one of the reasons I'm even here is a guy named Bob Sullivan. So he is the attorney for the school. He's an attorney out of Laurel, and he came in the shop, and I started teaching him some guitar lessons. And he was buying different guitars, and we got to be super, super close. And he became like family to me. And so one day, like, he's like, get in the truck. And I'm like, all right, bet. Let's go get in the truck. And so he brought me to Jones and brings me to the president's office.
You've come home now.
I've come home now.
You're at the good place now.
And like, I'm going, why am I here, bro? Like, you two guys.
Which need
like,
help with.
Right, facts. Like, what did you do? Like, y'all guys.
I thought you were the one trying to get people out of trouble. Get yourself out of trouble.
Like,
you're the lawyer.
Yeah, right. Like, dude, I'm like, y'all are way more powerful men than I am, And so they had an idea to start a music industry program. So they brought me on as a consultant. So I designed the studio, I designed the gear, I designed everything that's in the room, get it all together. And at the end, they asked me if I'd want to be the professor of the music industry program. And I'm going, I've never taught before. I've taught musicians on road cases, like theory and stuff. But, I'm married and we're wanting a little one, and I really want to be home.
You want that stability.
Right, to raise my daughter, and it's like, this is a really good thing. And so I just told him, if you're going to hire me, it's going to be real. It's going to be real world. I'm going to teach a little on Orthodox. There's not going to be a bunch of PowerPoints and lectures, and we're going to be in the studio, and we're going to work, we're going to record, we're going to learn the industry. I'm going to hold them to a high standard. they represent me when they leave this room.
Yep.
And that's how they'll act. And you'll have success. You'll have successful students. If you let me do what I need to do, you'll have it. If it's going to be more of a get them in a classroom with the PowerPoint and YouTube
You're
video,
not the guy.
I ain't the guy. Let me go back to the road. Let me go back to playing. And, Carl was always amazing to me at Mississippi Music. I'll stay there and go on the road and
So
do my
what
thing.
year is this?
Oh, what are we in? We're in 24 now.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 off would be 2020. So this is 2018.
Okay.
And Dr. Smith just had full faith in me. He was like, just go do what you think you need to do, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
So all right, cool. First day classes open, I had 2.
You got to start somewhere.
I've
right?
always had my classes open where somebody can come like sit in one
Yeah.
and just check it out. So I think when I was done, I had like 6 by the end of the year. And now I've got about 30.
It said this year's actually bigger from last year, right?
It's about the same.
Okay.
It's about the same. It's just the second year class, the ones that have made it to the second year, is more than some of the other go rounds. Because I tell them when they sit down their freshman year, look around. There will be people here next year that you will not see them.
Yes.
Because my job is to train them for the industry, but also make sure this is what they want to do.
Yeah. I mean, you've told me that before, that it's really just because this is not easy to make it in this industry. And most industries aren't, but this isn't.
No.
And so you have to be sure that this is what you want to do. And I think we both have said this before about stuff like that, being in the entertainment, being that kind. Is that if you don't want to do it, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
100%.
There's nothing wrong with that, but you don't need to waste your time and effort being lied to and told that this is what you need to do whenever it's too late. You don't have enough time to get those extra skills like we were talking about to go do something else.
Yeah, correct.
You've had a huge disservice done to you. Before we get into this class and everything, Jacob Arnold, how'd you get involved with him?
Jacob Arnold, I was playing in a band, Dr. E and the Voodoo Kings, which was like a New Orleans-based blues band in the area.
The name would not tell me that at all.
Oh, no, not at all. David Echevarria was the front guy of that band, and I love David, and he is an amazing dude. I wish he would go back to gigging. I would give anything. I would love to those gigs. And so I was supposed to do a duo with him one night. Well, he got sick. And he told me, like, if you can find somebody else to replace me, you can keep the gig, and I want the money. So Jacob had been in the shop multiple times. I got to know him real well. His daughter, who, God, she's almost like grown now. Like she would come in, I go get her candy from across the street and like put it on the stool and put on Paw Patrol. Yeah. And like she would like eat candy and watch Paw Patrol, and we would look at guitars. Like we gotten pretty close. And so I just called him and I was like, hey, look, I know we don't know each other, but I got this gig, and the only way I'm getting paid is if I bring somebody else to duo. Do you have it open? Do you want to come do it? And he was like, yeah, because at that time he was just full-time musician. That's what he did.
Yeah.
And so we played that night, and we've been playing together now for about 15 years.
For those of you who don't know, if you ever go to an event and there's somebody working with lights and stuff, that's Jacob Arnold.
That's Jacob Arnold.
Jacob Arnold and the Bird Dogs. Now, y'all had a pretty big release last year.
Yes.
The cover of Midnight Rider. Mm-hmm. What was that like? How cool was that, and where'd that come from?
It was cool. His main release was an album called Empty Bottles.
Yes.
And then we did another single where we covered Midnight Rider.
Are these all? They're all from here. They're all underneath the label of Free State Records.
Yeah, everything's here. Track, mix, master, the whole thing. We had a band together. He originally had the band, and then I was added into the band called Blackwater, and it was a southern rock band.
Okay.
Just rock party band. And we all grew up with Allman Brothers and all that stuff and loved it. And he's a great slide
otherwise
player.
known as good music.
That's it. And he's a great, unlike Morgan Wallen. And he is a great slide player. Yeah. And so he kind of brought it forth like, I really want to do a cover of that song. And so we put it together and did it, and it was really well accepted.
Very good. I love it.
Appreciate it.
I can't listen to the original. Like, that's how much I love that one.
I don't know about that, dude.
It's genuinely. I'm not just saying it. I love that version.
But that started our relationship. I hired him to come work at Mississippi Music when I was there. Just a good dude, man. And then when I got to Jones, I was here for a while, and then they needed somebody to be the lead, like front of house sound tech for Jones.
I know a guy.
And so I kind of tapped his shoulder, and Bruce Smith put it in motion, and Bob Sullivan was the main one that like kind of built our bridge for us and got him up here. So he's up here with me too.
Yeah.
But like that's us, dude. We've been through some good times. We've been through some real bad times together. The stories are probably better from the bad times, but but that's how we ended up getting together, making music together. Was literally one night he was sick, and we played together. And we just knew it worked. We knew it worked. The personality wise, he's like a straight shooter.
You're not like
very
that
composed.
at all.
I'm a big mouth, and I'll talk to everybody. And so like the dynamics worked really, really well. I worked the crowd a lot, joking and all that, and also would get him joking.
Yeah,
and then he's just raw talent, singing, playing, just God-given talent, just killer. And so man, I mean, we still gig together. We're playing together. I think it's this Thursday.
Where are you playing at?
We're playing Sully's. We're playing like a restaurant.
Oh, there. Oh, really?
Dude, it's amazing. Sully's are like my most favorite gigs in Hattiesburg.
Really?
As crazy as that sounds.
That place is packed all the time.
Well, as like full band stuff, I like the Keg and Barrel. But as like duo stuff, like just me and him, I love Sully's.
Why's that?
Every location. Because Sully's is a local restaurant. It's owned by
fantastic food.
Oh, the food's amazing.
I mean, both of those, Keg and Barrel and that one, fantastic.
And it's owned by Brian McClellan, who's a friend of all of ours, and just phenomenal food, phenomenal atmosphere. We go and we play what those people what they want to hear. Like they want to hear just like Southern rock covers and that kind of stuff. But for like musician wise, like we get paid well, they feed us, and we're just hanging out playing.
Yeah.
Like it's that kind of vibe. It's just fun.
Yeah.
It's chill, it's great. They built it with a musician in mind. There's already a PA system, everything hooked up, you just plug in. So it's easy. But we'll be doing that. I'm playing Wednesday in the Hattiesburg one with Bob Sullivan. Okay. I'm playing Thursday in the Pedal one with Jacob.
Yeah.
And then I'll play Friday night at, I think, like the Moose Lodge, wherever that is, with Birdsong.
Wherever.
And then, no offense to Moose Lodge, just don't know. He called and said, "Do you want to play?" And I was like, "I do like money."
So the next thing is you're going to be Googling where he is.
Right, And then Sunday I play at the Hattiesburg Pellies with Thomas Jackson.
Okay.
So, like, that's this week. Then, like, next month I have a Friday night gig doing the Live at 5 in Natchez. And then by the time Sunday rolls around, I'm playing the Hangout in Gulf Shores. So,
dang, man.
Like...
You need to get busy.
It's just it's wild, but that is why I love this industry. It's why I love it. Like
it's almost like rodeo.
Oh yeah,
to a degree.
100%.
I mean, it is like
I will rodeo anywhere you let me.
Exactly.
And I'll ride to anywhere there's a rodeo.
And if you do it full on, there's some days you might wake up and go, "Where am I?"
Oh yeah, you better believe. What day is it?
Yeah, let's look at the tags. Where are the car tags? Where are they from?
Where are we at?
Yeah.
But that's why I've always loved it. Like this week, I'm doing the tour of Sully's, is what I'm calling it. Which is
you
like
should make T-shirts of that.
Yeah, dude, like restaurant duo stuff. The next month, I'm like hitting the larger stages to a bunch of people in well-known places and well-known events, like. But that's always been where I'm at. At heart, I'm a guitar player, and I love music.
Do you prefer smaller or bigger?
Don't care.
Or is it, I was about to say, or they both come with their pros and cons?
They come with their pros and cons. I mean, it's amazing when you stand on a stage and look out over thousands of people. That's a cool feeling. It's also a cool feeling when you're playing a duo and...
almost have that small, intimate environment.
It's not a place that's made for dancing, but yet people are starting enjoying it.
You see people enjoying
it. They just get up and start dancing.
Yeah.
They're dancing around tables.
Yeah.
Like, that has an impact on you like 1,000 people. Mm-hmm. Because, like, you're talking about people that are enjoying it so much, they get up and dance in a place that you're not supposed to dance. There's nowhere to dance.
Yeah.
but yet they get up.
He'll make it work,
and they dance. Yeah. And if they're dancing, you're winning.
Mm-hmm.
That's the end of it. You want to know, is my band good? Are they dancing?
Yeah.
If I don't care what genre it is, if it's metal, I guess they're doing like the whole beat each other up in the middle thing, mosh pit. But if they're up and moving, you're winning. If they're sitting and looking at you, you're losing. So I mean, they all have their perks.
It's like being a stand-up. You know when it's going bad, and you know when it's 100%. Going good.
Yeah, dude, I've been in that band.
Woo.
I've been in that band booked for the wrong thing, and it's just it is grueling, and that's the problem. The times you're having fun, it feels like you hit one note and you got to get off the stage. The gigs that are going bad, you feel every minute of every hour, and I've been in all the above places, but I mean. Some of the funnest times I've had has been there used to be a place in Hattiesburg called the Skylight Lounge. And I was playing there with E, and it was just one of those cool nights where like a bunch of your heavy musician people, like heavy,
there.
Like Dr. Seraldo from USM, and I think Dr. Pinella's over the jazz program, plays sax, and like these just like monster musicians. It was a whole vibe of that in there, and it was packed, like you could barely move. And that's been over 10 years ago, but I can still remember every ounce of it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I can still remember every ounce of thousands of people with Muscadine.
Yeah,
like so for me, I just love playing guitar. I'm glad that I'm blessed to do it. I'm blessed that I'm in a position to hold down a job to where I'm educating and I'm getting people ready to go into the industry, whether straight out or going to go to university and go. I love what I do every day when I wake up. I don't dread going to sleep because I got to wake up to it. Fully supported by Dr. Smith and his staff.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of a scenario where I get it better.
Yeah.
And I still play, still go what I do. They encourage it. I mean, the more I'm out there actually doing the thing, and then also the opportunities that's in music industry. You walked in and on the TV I used to screen share, like there was a job listings up there. And it's because I always tell my students, like, there's more than just being an artist. There's a ton of jobs. Because here, every student, of course, as long as they pass, right? But they get Pro Tools certified here. Yeah. And you can literally go Google right now. Jobs
it's pretty crazy.
People that are certified and average, they range from $15 to $48 an hour.
Yeah.
So that means a student can literally leave Jones, go get one of those jobs, and be making on average $25 an hour editing audio. And then the big one that was released today was for ESPN. And literally for that one, you had to have a high school diploma, and then you had to have the knowledge of Pro Tools.
Yeah.
The perks were going through a program like this is going to move you up.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a certification in Avid. You have a certification in Pro Tools. Like, you're talking about somebody that's 20 years old, steps out of Jones College, and goes straight to working for ESPN.
Yeah.
And making money.
I want to talk about the class a little bit more, because not a lot of people know about your class, let alone you. So that's why I really wanted to have you on.
Oh yeah.
The studio is tucked away, you could say. I love when we interview people on here, like half the time they're like, "Now where is this?" I'm like, let's just meet somewhere, I'll take you there, because they have no clue where this is. Yes. So a student walks in day one of the fall semester, their freshman. What is like your perfect scenario map for that student? What do you want them to end at accomplishing here by the time they graduate?
When they walk into their first class, which is recording fundamentals like the 101, when they walk in, I don't care what they don't know, and I don't care what they know.
You're almost starting. I don't expect
anything. If they already know it, awesome. I tell them that first day, if you already know all these cables and you already know all these things, then be patient with the ones that don't.
Yeah, because you're about to learn it again.
Well, yeah, but like I can assure you, I'm going to get to a spot where you don't know something.
Yeah.
So just be patient. And then I explain to them day one what the music industry is like. I don't sell unicorns and butterflies in here. And I tell them what I expect from them, what they need to do, and the path they need to be on. Then I ask if they agree to that. And if they say yes, we go forward. If somebody raises their hand and says, I don't think so, then it's not a problem. I send them to enrollment, and I get them where they need to be. From there, we start basic cables all the way to this point. We're about halfway through the semester. So the freshman's been at school for what, month and a couple weeks? No, more than that, about 2 months now.
Sure.
Yeah, anyway.
I'm one of these students. So, like, one day I woke up and it was almost October.
Almost October.
Jeez
yeah.
Louise.
So, I mean, they've been in school for at least 6 weeks. And they're already taking turns engineering.
Wow.
And we're not talking about going and pressing a button so the little red thing pops up. We're talking about what inputs it in, running buses for headphones, like the full thing. And every one of them will go hands-on. Every one of them will make or record something. It doesn't matter if they're a vocalist, they play an instrument, they do digital, they'll do that. Every one of them will have that. At the end of the semester, I will call in an artist, a real artist, and they will have to record them without my help. So, I mean, you're talking about...
That's pretty cool.
Your first go here. You go from not even knowing what a cable is to running a session yourself.
Cutting an album.
Right. And then at the same time, you're taking Intro to Music Industry, which is music business and how the music business works. The way I start that is I just kind of lay out some basic principles of streaming and stuff like that. Then I make all of them present me with something they made.
Yeah.
Because they got to understand this is a business. And in a business, we sell products. If you don't have a product or don't know what your product is, of course you're not going to sell it.
You don't have much of a business there.
Right. I can talk about the most amazing guitar album that I can make. Sounds great. Make it.
Where is it?
Right. Make it. Then they're about through that section now, and then we're going to go into marketing, building teams. Then we'll go into copyright and all the business stuff you need. So even your first semester, you know how to make it and you know how to sell it.
Yeah.
Then we're going to go in and we're going to do... we're going to go to teach them basic music theory because you're doing music. You need some basic theory.
I would think so. You learned that. We learned that in the first part of this.
That's exactly right. And then you're doing that and you're also doing songwriting. So the first semester is crash course, welcome to the music industry. This is work.
Can
and
you
need
make
to know
it?
things. Can you make it through? The next is creative. Let's tap into that artistry that's in all of our brains. Let's give you the language, the pain, if you will, and then let's teach you how to use it in songwriting.
Yeah.
Then when they come back, they're in basic computer skills for recording. So iOS's, plugins,
computer applications,
all the computer stuff. And they're in recording, they're in computer recording 1, which is where they start on their capstone project.
Okay.
And they start building it. Then when they get to their last semester, they're taking computer recording 2. They're finishing the capstone project. We're getting into mixing and mastering. At the end of it, they each have to present me with their own project. And it has certain rules about how it has to be.
Certain rubric.
It's a pass-fail. If you don't do work and you hand it to me and it's crap, I'm going to fail you just like the industry would. If it's good and to your...
Because like we were saying earlier, it's a disservice to say, oh, you did so great.
Yeah, we don't hang stuff on the refrigerator around here.
Yeah.
We don't do that. If not, you pass that, and you're also in Audio Engineering 1. Audio Engineering 1 is Pro Tools class. So you go through it, and that's how you get your 100 level certification.
Like we were talking about.
So you should leave me understanding how an entire studio works, understanding how the business works, understanding how to create artistically the product you sell, how to start a project from A and carry it all the way through mastering and have one that's now in a portfolio for you to use, and you're also certified in Pro Tools.
Okay, so is the plan for some of them to go to a 4-year, or could this be the end of it?
Completely at their discretion. I have both. I have students that have left directly after Jones and went and been extremely successful.
Yeah.
I had one last year that didn't walk. He graduated, but didn't walk in graduation because he was playing a sold-out show in L.A. So I have them doing that, and then I've had students that leave here and go to Belmont, Middle Tennessee. One went to Purdue, UT of Arlington, to these different music industry programs in university. Go past there. I had one went through Delta. He now owns Duncan Audio, so if you go on the coast and go to the concerts and stuff and see Duncan Audio, that's one of my first-year students.
Okay.
So it's, what do you want? I mean, what do you want to do with it? If you're like, I just want to go make some money, then if you were graduating right now, you can go apply to ESPN and
go make you some money.
Yeah, I mean, you're above what their requirements even are for the job. And you have what? You have something in your portfolio that you made in Computer Recording 1 and 2 that proves that you can do the job. And you have a certificate from Avid that proves you can do the job.
Yeah.
And you have the education level that they're actually wanting past a high school degree.
Mm-hmm.
You are exactly what they want. So now, you know, especially if you went here and you played in the band, you were on scholarship. You got no money invested. And you leave here with no money invested and you go work for ESPN, who's also the Disney Corporation. You get in there, start doing a good job. Lord knows where that could take you in there.
Yeah.
But you're leaving here, you don't have debt. Move to wherever you are, you're actually going into a real job, a good job, that's probably going to pay you $15 an hour, $20 an hour. And if you show your worth and you put in work ethic, who knows where you go.
Yeah.
Now, the same student could say, no, I don't want to do that, I want to go to university, and just get better at their craft, make more connections, and then
Get
come
out and do
on-
the same thing.
Get out and do the same thing, or because of the connections they made,
Have a better opportunity.
go bigger. But this program is designed. I always laugh and say it's designed for the people that didn't want to go to school, because that was me. I didn't want to go to school.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to take science, and you got to take math, and you got to take all the stuff, and you might not like that, but that's what's called discipline.
Yeah.
We all have to do things in life we
That's-
don't care for to get where we want to be.
That's exact. I've never, people that talk about college nowadays is it's a scam. That's the whole rhetoric around college, especially in certain circles.
Sure.
And it's people, well, why do I need to know biology? Why do I need to know that? Listen, if you're listening to this and you're a student, you know who Tasha Reynolds is.
Oh yeah.
Tasha Reynolds was my Principles of Biology 2 teacher.
Oh yeah. Good teacher.
Great teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I call her TT because she hates that. So that's what I call her.
good.
Exactly. I had so much fun in that class, but I learned stuff, and what you learn by taking that stuff, math, science, all that,
Yeah.
is you learn a work ethic, I think.
100% you do, and if you have a good instructor
Oh, man.
that loves what they're teaching about, you're gonna learn and have a good time.
Yeah.
That's the end of the game. Why do I have success here? I believe it's God's plan for me. I believe I work hard at it, but also I give a crap and I love it.
Yeah.
So I want to stay in here with you an extra hour. I meet students. I mean, technically teachers get out at 12 on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was in here. I mean, you were actually just leaving, and I had a student that was coming in. It was
Yeah.
like 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it was a student that asked to meet with me because they needed some kind of direction on their project and stuff like that. I'm happy to do it because I love what I do.
Yeah.
If I hated what I do, like 12 o'clock, buddy, like I'd already be in
Gone.
the truck and be gone. But yeah, I mean, it's just part of it, and some of the stuff you need to know. I just
think-
being real, like where you put your studio monitors in a studio, that's math. Sound waves, yeah, that's physics. So that stuff's healthy to know. History, please learn history.
We
if you don't pay
beg
attention
of
to
you.
anything-
This is our PSA for please learn. Just learn history.
Because we do repeat it. We do repeat it if we don't learn history. We
Always.
do repeat it. Look at
Always.
civilization. But it really is. You go do your job. You go get your stuff done in there, and you learn here. If you don't want to go to school past this, for music industry, you're equipped.
You're right. You're ready to rock and
You're
roll.
fully equipped.
And not just be successful.
Yeah, I mean, you're equipped. If you survive me for 2 years, you're ready to rock. Because I'm not gonna go status quo, and I'm not gonna hold your hand. I'm gonna give you what it's gonna be like out there.
It's a disservice to do otherwise.
Yeah, I mean that's ridiculous. Well, it ends programs, is what it does.
Yeah.
It ends programs because they quote unquote graduate people. And then those people don't know how to do anything, and it comes back on that program, which means they're not teaching them anything. And then the kids then start figuring it out. They stop going into the major, and you're done.
Yeah. It can letting mediocrity come out can really affect you. But that kind of leads us to the final question.
Yes.
Right? How has Jones impacted your life? Really? I mean, you talking about going here, there, and everywhere, and now you're here.
Sure.
How has this impacted you?
It gives me the most valuable thing in the world, and that's time to be able to be with my family. How has it impacted me? That's the biggest way it's impacted me. I have a president that if my daughter's sick, he says go get her. And that
must be weird for you because you were in a dog eat dog world.
Yeah, 100%.
For a while, and now
I'm not. Go get your daughter. Take care of your daughter.
Yeah.
Like, take care of your stuff, but go get your daughter. Take care of her. How's your daughter? I know him. He backs me up, even when he thinks I'm sure half crazy sometimes. But he backs me up. It allows me to earn money for my family, and it gives me that stability to be able to be home and be with my wife and raise my daughter. And those are like the big things. Everything else to me is just gravy. It's just more pluses.
Yeah.
I love the people